I've finally hit over 1 billion rubles within Escape from Tarkov's PVE mode, and today I'm going to give you an overview as to how we managed to get here and the sort of things that you can do as well to both make money and of course just fund your PVE addiction if you do decide to play the mode. So there's a few things we are not going to go into in-depth detail onto exact loot runs that I did do, but what I am going to do is I will give a full link to all of the different loot runs that we have done as videos in themselves, and these are the best ones that I've found, the ones that I did regularly for a variety of different maps. They'll be in the description of this video. So in terms of some of the extra bits that we do outside of raids, as well as some of the things that I focus on when in the raid, we will cover in this video. So obviously 1 billion rubles, our account is actually worth more than that because of the fact we've got a absolute ton of thick items cases, and you can see them all here, as well as thick weapons cases, etc. So a lot of absolute trash within my stash. Loads of you seem to love taking a dump on my stash. I know it gets to this point when you have basically don't die enough, unfortunately. So, and when you stockpile a load of crap as well. But at the same time, in terms of the money that we have made in total, so our total cost of all items in the stash is 1.3 billion rubles. However, this is actually severely undervalued because each of the thick items cases as of currently within the game, when I release this video, the thick items cases are worth about 50 million each, and I believe we probably have, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we've got 7, 8, and 9, 10 thicker items cases, and then 13 thick items cases in total. So a lot of thick items cases, I won't lie. And so each one of those worth about 50 million rubles. If you were to make them right now, may actually be slightly more than that, which is kind of crazy to think. But most of them we managed to pick up for about 30 million back when they were a little bit cheaper. So I guess we haven't spent that much on them. And then we've got a lot of items that are kind of lying around in the stash, like key cards and stuff like that, that we'll end up using, as well as marked room keys and a wide variety of extra bits and bobs. But in terms of the money-making methods that we did do outside of actual raids, we'll get into those first. So number one was checking out the barter trades, because of course the found at the current moment in time, because this may all change in 6 months down the line or 3 months down the line, we just don't know, so I want to put that in there, is that there's no found in raid within the game at this moment in time, which means obviously you can buy and sell items from the traders, which obviously is going to net you money if you're buying items for cheaper than what you're selling to traders. This is one of the most easy passive ways of making a ton of money, and you can do it multiple times per day. It takes about 10 minutes of doing it, and you can make upwards of 10 million rubles every single time that you do it. You can do it multiple times per day, and so if you're playing quite a bit of Tarkov, you could net easily 500 million rubles within an actual week of playing the game, which is rather ridiculous if this is what you were focusing on, if you were focusing on purely making money in the game. I have not focused on making money in the game for probably, I don't know, 3-4 months, something like that, which is why it's taken us so long to be able to go from about 870,000 or 870 million rubles to the 1 billion mark, and I've only recently done it from just selling some of the stuff and doing a couple of labs raids. But in terms of the barter trades that we were doing consistently throughout, they vary dependent on time of year, as well as if there are any events going on which actually cause some of the items for those barter trades to go sky high. But essentially what you're looking for in terms of barter trades is highly popular items, or items that people are using a lot, especially new players have to buy them at some point to make their account kind of upgrade, if that makes sense. So for example, a sit case at the moment, if we were to have a look at how much they are, is 5.55 million rubles at this moment in time. So quite expensive, but actually the barter trade to be able to unlock a sit case, so you can do this once every single restock, is probably in the region of about 3 million rubles. So you've got 12 paracords at about 150k each. These are inflated at the minute. I think someone was trying to price fix the paracords as they were down at like 120k earlier. So yeah, they've definitely been price fixed, but they usually cost about 1.5 million to buy all of these. And then you've got duct tapes, which are like 20k each, so that's like 300k right there. So it's about 1.8 million normally. Tape is about 40 to 50k, so call it 750k, so you're looking at about 2.25 million. And then the pack of nails, someone has definitely price fixed this, as I was buying them a second ago for about 50k, 40k each, so someone's probably gone ahead and bought them all up and trying to sell them, but they're usually around 60k each, 50 to 60, so call it another 750k. So yeah, sat at around 3.3 million, and you can sell the sit case on the flea for 5.5 million. So net profit minus the tax that you're going to have to pay, or commission, is probably about 1.5 million rubles from simply doing this. It takes literally 2 minutes to do, and you get 1.5 million straight away. So it's essentially like finding a LEDX in a raid, except this is done guaranteed, and you can do it every like hour and a half or 2 hours. So you could do this multiple times per day. So literally funding your account by selling things like sit cases, it's crazy. You could make probably 5 million a day just from selling some sit cases every time it resets. So you hop on, do this, you know, you go into your raids as normal, come out, do this again, go into your raids as normal, come out, do this. You know, it's just that easy if you're wanting to make money on the game. And PvE is notoriously easy to make money at the moment. Then you've got things like weapon cases. These very much vary. These are probably the most varied one. But you can see these are at 3.9 million. The trade from Jaeger is actually not the one to do, because it's actually the one from Mechanic, or at least dependent on what time of year it is. It's the motors. So motors are 170k. You need 8 of them, which is about 1 million rubles, something like that. Maybe slightly more, 1.4 million. And then you've got some wires, which are not very expensive. And then some broken LCDs and an Acer. So total is probably about like 2 million, I won't lie. It's really not that expensive. And of course, you're selling the weapons case for about 4 million. So, I mean, literally 2 million right there. So between the sit case and the weapons case, you can make like 4 million rubles. So it is super easy to do. I haven't been doing it recently. I just don't need it. I don't really need the money. And of course you can do the same sort of thing with things like ammo cases. I mean, they're not worth a whole lot, but 200k, you could probably buy 2 thermites for cheaper, and then 2 eagles. Maybe not, so maybe that isn't actually worth it, but you guys get the drift. Essentially, you can go ahead and buy up various different items. So even a money case, this costs about, I want to say like 700k, and the money case is literally worth 1.89 million. So 1.8 million, you're probably making about 1 million every time you make a money case. And then you've got things like medicine cases. You can check the prices of these. They're not too expensive, but I believe you can actually buy them off the flea. Maybe not, or at least no one's actually selling them. But then you've also got items cases. So a normal items case is, if we look, I know I can sort by rubles, but 2.6 million. And you essentially need 10 ophthalmoscopes, which actually vary from like 60 to 80k. It's quite late here in the UK, which probably means that prices are slightly higher as less people are playing, and therefore supply is lower. But yep, you can buy them for like 65k, so 650k plus 25 meds at 40k a pop is about 1 million. So call it 1.7 million, and you can buy this one for 2.6 million. So you make about 800k minus the like tax. So I mean, it's still very, very good money. And when you combine all of these together, you can make anywhere from like 6 million in a couple of minutes. So that's just a couple of things. There are a ton more that you can do as barter trades. I'm not going to go into every single one because I'm sure you guys can work it out. They all vary dependent on the price of things. So, you know, at one point in the day, it might be worth doing one over the other. At another time of the day, it might not actually be worth doing any. Just check the prices when you do go on. Don't go doing things without actually checking the price, because once again, prices may vary and you might actually be better off waiting like half an hour going into another raid, coming out, and actually the prices aren't fixed or anything. So it's always something to be aware of. And that is going to get you towards your thick items cases. So the more that you do those, that is going to basically fund your thick items case. So what I will normally do when I'm going for a thick items case is basically do the barter trades. And once I've done the barter trades, I've made the money, I will then kind of keep that money and spend it on the items required for the thick items case. So it's kind of like working towards a thick items case for free using other people's money, which is perfect. And I'm sure you guys will be wanting to do that yourselves. Obviously, don't know how popular this video is going to be. Maybe it isn't as good when it's first released, but trust me, I've done a few videos on this sort of thing. It maybe gets slightly worse for like 1 day, 2 days, and then it's fine again, and you can make just as much money. And in fact, right now is probably more profitable than it's ever been in the game. So yeah, that pretty much tells you everything you need to know. And then what else do we have? Well, obviously, you've got yourself some tasks. Now, tasks, your dailies and stuff like that, they do reward you with money, but actually what's great about doing a lot of the actual tasks is that they might give you a wide variety of items. So the ones that I will typically search for, so ones that basically give you good rewards. The rewards are completely random. They can be anything. And so usually I will just replace the tasks every single time until I get one that actually gives me good rewards and is usable and repeatable. And you can do that just constantly, especially the weekly tasks. So weekly tasks can give you some really, really amazing rewards, and this is the one that I will basically focus on. So the daily tasks are nice and additional extras to your raid that just add money, but in terms of the one that I will actually focus on completing, it is doing the weekly tasks. These are going to net you the most amount of money. So just simply by taking out Rashala 5 times, I can make 786,000 rubles with some extras, and that basically means I just play customs, and it gives you something to do as well. So I would probably be doing this with something like a pistol to make it a bit of fun, make it more challenging, that sort of thing. So I'll probably be doing that. Maybe it'll be a video coming soon. We'll see what we want to do, or maybe I'll just replace it for a different task and see what we can get as rewards, because the rewards on this one, in addition to the rubles, aren't particularly that great, but still probably about 1 million rubles right here for just playing a few raids that I probably would have already done. And you can make a lot of money on you know, doing some of the marked rooms, or if you got a different target that was on a better map, for example glue car, you can make a lot more money doing reserve if you wanted to at the same time as completing this. So that's kind of what you should be aiming towards. And then the other thing, in order to ramp up how much money you make, it's essentially buying up things that are going to help you in your raids to speed things up. So a lot of people, when they're trying to make money, they'll kind of go to all of these spots that, you know, can add value every single time during your raids. But often what they're doing is they're adding on extra locations in the map to go and check. And although these locations might be okay and actually add value to your raids, you'd be better off just resetting the raid and going back to the spots. Now, you can play however you want to do in the game. I'm not going to tell you that you should only do like 3 or 4 different spots in a raid and then extract, because obviously that might get boring. But if you want to make the most money in a short period of time, a lot of the areas that you might go to as well are not necessarily that worth doing, and in the time it takes you to get there, you could have reset and gone back to like the best possible areas in the map. So that's something to be aware of, and is definitely something to take note of. And then in terms of also speeding it up, things that like the Red Rebel, for example, this is probably the best investment I've ever made into this game, because it saves you a absolute ton of time in your raids to just go ahead and extract. All you need is a Red Rebel, which at this moment in time is less than 1,000,000 rubles, so you can make that literally just doing any map, doing anything and just looting up whatever. You can pretty much make that in every single raid, so just one raid will pay for the Red Rebel extract. And yeah, all you'll need then is a paracord to be able to actually use it. I don't know where mine is, but you just drop it into your back and then you can run around and get the Red Rebel extracts. So things like reserve become super good, as well as lighthouse, because you can loot up the chalets and just extract. You can check out the town and then loot the chalets, extract. It's so much quicker than going to all of the other locations, and often the Red Rebel extracts are actually very close to where the high value loot locations are. So even things like, for example, Shoreline, the Red Rebel extract is actually like basically very close to where the actual health resort is. So it's on a nice side of the map as well, where you don't have to go flying through the goons, which may just one tap you on their top of their little weather station, which has definitely never happened to me before. Next thing that is kind of linked to what we've just been talking about in terms of spending money to make more money, buy yourself some good gear. Genuinely, on PvE, you don't really ever lose your gear, because especially if you're a solo player, because there's literally no chance. Once you die, the raid ends, and that is basically then your insurance comes back every single time. So it's only really when you play with someone else, or you're playing on streets, potentially, because of the fact that it's on the servers as opposed to a locally hosted game. So you basically get insurance back. So make sure you've got just the best possible kit all of the time, whatever it might be. Invest in getting yourself some good headphones, invest in getting yourself a decent helmet. Unfortunately, you can't buy the Bastion plate anymore, so you're going to have to do Lightkeeper, but for me, Lightkeeper is bugged because I don't have the quest, which was failed, and now I cannot ever seem to get it back. I don't know, maybe that's just something that I'm an idiot and I can just do it again, but I don't know where it is. Is it key to the tower or something like that? Either way, there is a Lightkeeper task that I cannot get and I cannot complete, which means I can't get Lightkeeper, which is just perfect. So, yay. Either way, Bastion plate for your helmet. If you have one of those, use it. It's very good. Don't take it into labs. But other than that, use the best gear that you possibly can. And even if you're playing in labs, remember that a couple of labs runs surviving will make you far in excess of any gear that you possibly can lose in the game, provided that you can buy that gear. If you're taking in level 6 plates into labs, that's kind of on you. I wouldn't recommend it. You don't really need it anyway, and the majority of the armor that I will take into raids is essentially level 5, so a baggery here is something that I will take into my raids. Level 5 protection covers a decent chunk of places. It is also a nice one because you can use the Red Rebel extract without having to drop off armor, so that's another thing, saving you time in dropping your armor and then having to wait for it to come back and insurance the next day or whatever. It's just very quick and you don't have to re-kit after your raids. So all of that combined, just trying to speed it all up. Obviously, in terms of best maps for loot, in my opinion, it goes as a new player. If you just brand new to Escape from Tarkov PVE and you want the best map, I would highly recommend Lighthouse to begin with, because you can loot up the chalets, and as long as you extract just one time going through the chalets, you will make enough money to buy the Red Rebel extract, which means you can then basically farm Lighthouse for the first bit. You can make probably 20 million and then you're set to like carry on with your PvE experience. If you're a more experienced player and you've been using and abusing the AI for a long time, like I have, I would predominantly say Labs is the actual best map for the loot. It is crazy right now, especially with the brand new zone, and if you haven't already seen some videos on the new zone and some of the things that you can do to farm, then I would highly suggest checking that video out, which will also be linked in the description. And the whole run of Labs is just really, really good. It is genuinely, you can come out of raids with like 8-10 million worth of stuff if you get a bit lucky, but most of the time about 5 million rubles worth of gear and items. But either way, moving swiftly on, then we probably have Reserve. I think Reserve is a very, very good map that has a ton of loot absolutely everywhere. It is one of my favourite maps and probably my favourite map, to be honest, because it just has everything. You know, you can go into tackling a boss if you wanted to with Glukar. You can go ahead and fight raiders. You can go ahead and fight PMCs. There is a ton of loot locations. It is a relatively decent sized map. There are marked rooms and there's 3 of them. And yeah, there's just lots of things to do on the map. I really enjoy it, and it's an amazing money maker as well. And there's lots of keys that you can collect and kind of build up to and then add to your run that make you even more money every time. So yeah, Reserve, really good one. We've definitely done quite a few videos on Reserve, so once again will be in the link in the description. So either way, that's kind of most of the things that I did. It's really not that difficult in terms of making money on this game, especially now with all of the prices that are just massively inflated in the game, and with basically people like me buying things for way above what we really realistically need to, because I don't care about the money anymore. So yeah, hopefully you guys can take a bit of my money away by me overpaying for things, and you can make some money as well. And I will catch you in the next video. Thank you very much.